Welcome back, guys, to Cats Coverage's basketball podcast. We're still rolling. It's middle of May right now. Um, there's been a lot that's happened. What a wild offseason. I mean, what is like, there's not even an offseason anymore in basketball or football, especially when you go through a coaching search. Like, this stuff just doesn't stop. It feels like it's slowed down a little bit. It's amped up during the coaching search, but it's still pretty close to what the season was. There's something going on just about every single day. But Michael, we were just talking about before we hit record on this thing. It's been about a month since we've done this. It was around April 16th. I think today is May the 13th. We had Lauren on here to help us with learn who Mark Pope was. Now I feel like we broke down everything I've listened to everything he's said since he's been here. I felt like I really know the guy now when I don't. Um, I just wanted to kind of catch up with you. How's things been going with you, man? It's been quite some time.
Things have been good, man. Things were super busy, obviously with the coaching search, and then you know, Keeneland, UK baseball, and then the Derby. So after the Derby, I was like, man, I gotta go and take some time off and go relax. So I went down to Destin,
Yeah.
just left for a couple days with my dog Stella. We just went to the beach and just hung out, man. So it was nice to just escape a little bit, um, and relax on the beach. Got back and ran a half marathon on Saturday, which
Man.
was difficult to say the least. The most I had ran was like 10 and a half miles before. And so this was tough, but it was a good feeling to cross the finish line. My feet are still sore, so but yeah, so definitely just kind of grinding and got the PGA Championship this week, so I'll be going out to Louisville a bunch to cover that. Um, and then, man, it doesn't really slow down with Kentucky baseball and the SEC tournament. I might go down to Hoover, probably not. Maybe on like Sunday if they make it all the way. But um, and then UK baseball hosting the regional, then hosting a super regional. It seems like that's probably a lock. If they take care of business this weekend and win a couple games in Hoover, then they're a lock to host the Super Regional, which is really exciting. They went to Baton Rouge, and I went down to cover that with Nicole. That was a lot of fun. Um, so, um, and then I'm gonna go cover the Belmont. I was at the Derby, gonna cover the Belmont Stakes up in Saratoga. I got family up there, so it's not ending. Staying busy, and then try to enjoy some time off after that.
Yeah, you were going through those moments there since we've last been on here, and I forgot all about the Derby. I saw you do your national piece there, or what's it called, live hit. I might be butchering that, but how was that, man? That's congrats. That's awesome.
Thanks, man. The first national hit for News Nation. Not a lot of people watch News Nation really, but it's still a national program, so it was pretty cool. And but it's basically just me doing the same thing I always do, man. Just talk courses or whatever I'm doing. So hopefully the first of many to come. But it was fun for sure. The whole Derby weekend was a lot of fun. It was a long week. I was out in the barns early, like Tuesday, Wednesday at like 5 a.m. It was just like
Yeah.
waking up at 3:30 to get out there. It was a grind, man, but it was fun.
Yeah, I've never been to actually I think I've been to the Derby once, but I was younger. I don't really remember it. My grandfather's actually a horse trainer at Churchill Downs. Like he has his own barn, has like 30 something horses that he oversees. It's got
Wow.
his name on the barn. Like you think I could get in there with that, but I've never really tried that.
What's
Uh,
his name?
Rick Howes.
Wow.
A lot of people in the horse world do know him, but he's got his whole barn up there right at Churchill Downs, and I think in his 70s. He does it 7 days a week. He gets out there at like 5:30 in the morning, goes out and feeds them in the morning. He's been doing 7 days a week, doesn't stop. I mean, he's been doing it all his life since he was like 20 something, and it's not a job for him. That's why he can do it at that age, and I think it's cool. That's your goal in life to find that. And he's been doing it for 50 plus years, however long it's been, and so that the Derby's always big for him too. Yeah, he's there 7 days a week. So most of the years they sell their seats at the Derby and don't go there. That's their day home to not deal with everybody because he's there every single day. So different perspective where a lot of people they just watching that one day. I'm usually one of those people that just watching that day. But yeah, the Derby went by, and did you have any? I mean, I know Reed Shepherd called it, but did you pick Mystic Dan? Because I didn't.
I did have a $2 bet on Mystic Dan, so
Oh,
I
did you?
got 39.22, I think was the payout. So Not
Wow.
bad. I wish I put more on him, obviously, but I really liked Sierra Leone, who won the Bluegrass here at Keeneland in April, and um, I like Dornoch too. And a couple. I did a story on Just Steel, um, and Keith Asmussen, who was the jockey riding in his first Derby for trainer Dwayne Lucas, but his dad, Steve Asmussen, is also a trainer, legendary trainer, and had a horse in the Derby, Track Phantom. So that was kind of a fun story that I did Derby week. So I had money on both of them. They were actually both 1 and 2. Like after the first turn, going there on the backstretch, I was like, "Good Lord! Like if I have that on exacta, I'm about to get some money." But they obviously didn't do it. My brother had an exacta on Mystic Dan in Sierra Leone, so he got like $120 or something. So it was fun, man. Derby's a lot of fun. It's fun to bet if you win. If not, if you lose money. I lost a lot of money at Keeneland. Not a lot, but I lost basically every bet at Keeneland. So it was good to finally get on the winning end of one.
That's like me and betting on sports, man. I mean, if you just break 500, it's fun. It's the ride that counts, man.
Yeah.
Try not to get in too much of a hole there. One thing I mentioned to talk about, Trent Noah. Man, I can't tell you how excited I am to have him here. You know how hard me and Tim were all over Reed Shepherd last summer, just like Kentucky boy. It's their little pride there. Travis Perry, and then now you got Trent Noah. To be honest with you, when he committed South Carolina and Cal and his staff didn't even offer him, didn't really give him much attention. Kind of out of the back of my mind. I knew he was good. I watched him at the state tournament, but I was like, man, I just accepted the fact that he's not coming to Kentucky. He's going to go to South Carolina, and we see him once or twice a year. And it was kind of a shame, but I got over it. I got kind of accepted. The fact is more the better word. And then out of nowhere, in like 24-hour period, bam, bam, decommits or asked to be out of his letter of intent, and he's at Kentucky Wildcat. I can't tell you how excited I was to see that. That kid, I've since followed him online. He's pretty active on TikTok, and it kind of shows his personal side. And I'm rooting for the kid. He seems like a really, really good kid. Like I had to know nothing about his personality, but now I feel like I know him. That's how social media works. When I feel like I know him, I'm rooting for him hard, man. I'm already ready to get to see him come to life, along with Travis Perry.
Yeah, man. I was telling you, that weekend was bittersweet, obviously, because Cats just lost to Oakland. And so we should have been in Pittsburgh all weekend. But we came back home. They lost on Thursday, came back on Friday. So I went to Rupp on Saturday to cover the Great Crossing Lyon County State semifinal game. Travis Perry was awesome, and then stayed and went to the state title game against Harlan County, and to see like Travis Perry and Trent Noah like battle, man, that was awesome. Those two dudes can score the basketball, and Trent Noah, I know he can score. He struggled a little bit in that game. He still got some buckets, but Travis was the better player that day. But man, they both can get buckets. And it was awesome to see them go up against each other and in their future arena, like Travis Perry obviously won state. And I was telling you, when Pope got hired, like you knew those guys were all going to leave, like the transfers and like most of that recruiting class. But the first number one highest priority was to get Travis Perry to stay here.
Okay.
100%. And I told you that day one, and said it on the air here at Fox. I was like, that's number one. You got to keep the in-state recruiting going because Cal had been doing a good job with that, and you need that to continue next year with Malachi Moreno at Great Crossing and Jasper Johnson, who was an in-state kid and is now doing prep over in Missouri at Link Academy, but he's still he's a Kentucky kid. His dad and granddad both went here, and so you got to keep the in-state recruiting going. And not only does he get Perry, but he gets Trent Noah to flip. That's big for Poe. I don't know how much those guys are going to play. I think they're going to get as fair of a shot as anybody, obviously, to play, right? I mean, you go down this list of players, and like Kobe Brea, you think for sure is going to play. I mean, he's like one of the best shooters in the portal. He is guaranteed some playing time. But like Lamont Butler, Andrew Carr, Colin Chandler, Brandon Garrison, Kirk Risa, I think that's how you say it. Trent Noah, Otego Awea, Travis Perry, and then Amari Williams. So Amari Williams, like for sure, he's gonna play. But if you're just talking like the the guard spot. I mean, Noah's 6'6", so he's kind of a wing, but you you think like nobody's really guaranteed like starter besides like probably Kobe Bryant and Amari Williams and maybe Garrison and Amari Williams will start 6'10" and 6'11". I don't know. You kind of only start one of them, but um, like this is like nobody's really guaranteed a lot. So like Perry and Noah could both come in and just get buckets and get a ton of minutes, just like Reed did. Not to compare them, but you don't know what to expect out of these kids when they get to the college game. But if they go and ball, man, like those two freshmen are gonna play, and they're gonna play a lot and get buckets.
Yeah. This is, as we were sitting here going through this, I was sitting there thinking in the back of my head, this is unknown territory, at least for myself. I've never been through a coaching search, at least in media, where you had to sit here and break it down. You can watch it from a distance, but like sitting here, like I've had to pull up the roster to be like, okay, I don't know I can't go through the roster off the top of my head at this point in time. And I'm looking at them and I can't say their names either. Half their names, I know I'm butchering it. Just different, man. This ain't what I'm used to. But some of the names, and like I just mentioned, I'm gonna butcher this name, but the Kerr kid, I'm really high on him right now just because of his aggressiveness. Did you see that clip about Luka Doncic or however you say his name when he's over talking crap to him over in wherever? Did you see that clip?
I didn't. Where was he playing in Sylvania?
Somewhere,
Right?
and they were having some jaw,
That's
and he got up in Luka's face and let him have it. Just did
that's
not
dope.
back down. Yeah, yeah. So that's the kind of guy we're getting from him too.
Yeah, he's a good point guard, man. He can dish. I think he led his conference in assists, I think. So 6'3". I like how they put the heights on the roster. They don't normally do that. So I like that. Um yeah, Lamont Butler, I like he's obviously got some, Final Four experience at San Diego State. So you think that he's gonna play, he's 6'2". So if you could predict the starting lineup, what would you do? I mean,
Let's do it. Let's
if
do it. I'd love
Butler
to
and
see that.
Brea, you're big. Andrew Carr, I don't think he would start. I think I would. I think Amari Williams would start. You got 3, 6, 11 guys basically. I think Amari Williams would start, and then, um, yeah, man, I don't. Could Trent Noah start? Could Travis Perry start? You got to get. I think Kirk Kriisa, and Lamont Butler, those two, 6'2", 6'3". So maybe those are your two guards. Kobe Brea has to start, and then I don't know who would be at the four.
They
Maybe
still
it's
gotta add
Noah
pieces too. They still got 3 spots to fill. What if that Robinson kid comes back that entered the draft? I mean, they still got
if
three
he
more.
comes back. You'd
Yeah,
have to start him for sure. But Amari Williams will probably start at the five, right? Don't you think?
I'd say it's a safe bet. Yeah.
Or Garrison. I don't know. Not, there's a lot of time to figure that out, but
Pope seems
I
big.
think,
Carr, Andrew Carr. Pope's been real high on him, at least in every media opportunity he's had so far.
yeah. But I like Brea. You hope that he can come in and not be Antonio Reeves, but basically just kind of be that sharpshooter and
Like a Kellen
don't,
Grady role.
huh?
Think like a Kellen Grady type of role, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I like him. I mean, you shoot that well from three, you're gonna come and get buckets, and he's gonna come in with confidence. And
Yeah.
I just Antonio was just such a gem, man. I mean, you get him from Illinois State, and he just comes in, but he had to figure some things out his first year, and then he comes out in his second year, and he's an All American. So I don't know how many years Brea has. I don't know how much eligibility he has left. I can't remember, but hopefully it's more than one. But if he just has one, man, I think he could come in and get buckets. So he would probably start. Um, but yeah, you're right. To get off that tangent, yeah, Trent Noah, big time get last week. I think Pope. I was a little more nervous than others were. I just didn't really like how this roster was coming together. And it's still unproven, obviously. I can't guarantee that this team is going to be in the top half of the SEC. You can't make that guarantee. We like these pieces, um, but like there's still just a bunch of pieces, portal pieces, and some misfits that have to come together and gel. And obviously, they will to some extent. I was a little worried that maybe like this first year could be really bad, like maybe not even make the NCAA tournament bad. But I think this roster is good enough to where they're going to be good, they're going to be competitive, um, and hopefully be top half of the SEC and maybe even better. But we'll see.
I think a lot of it's just the unknown factor. I mean, especially I can speak for it because I feel like this happens to me. Like big time change is hard. Like change being uncomfortable is hard, and it's just the unknown. I've never liked the unknown, and so I think there's a lot of concerns. It's more of like it's just the unknown. We've not sit here and broke down every game of Mark Pope. He's new for a lot of us. He's new for me. I've only watched a couple of his games from last year, and a lot of them are just clips from it. I've not sat there and watched the full game. You don't know his, it's hard to know his coaching style from just what you read online and what you hear in his interviews and things like that. But just the unknown. So like I think right now, as human nature, we just are cautious already instead of being the opposite effect of like being aggressive, being like, yes, yes, he's gonna come here and kill. We're just more of like, I don't know, like it's we don't know these players. Everything's brand new. It's like a new team. I mean, finally, I think in every media opportunity he's had, he kept saying that it's like this is your all's team. We've not had our team in a while. Like it's always been Cal's team, so it's just different. It's you got to get a feel for it, and now we got a whole summer for that. And I'm gonna love to hear all the stuff that comes out of the practices. And Mark Pope, he claims to love the media and have a good relationship. So like this is gonna be a summer where we probably get a lot of info out of all the practices and stuff. Who knows? Maybe he has media opportunities this summer. I don't know what they'll be if the rules, but like I don't think this is gonna be another summer where you just hear two or three reports and that's it, and it's closed doors. Like so we're in a different world, man. And I'm so excited. And some of the old heads that have been doing covering UK for decades, this was news to me. I think I learned it about last summer. At one point in time, media used to get to go to practices. Like at one point in time, I think back maybe in the first year or two, Cal. I don't think we're gonna do that, but like at least we get somewhat that direction back now when we just I don't know. It's a new world. I'm excited for it, man. I'm ready for the change. I'm ready for just the excitement. It's different. We've got to do the same thing for so long. I'm ready for it.
Yeah, man. When I was in school, Tom Izzo, he would let the media go to practice, and we wouldn't be able to shoot it, obviously, but we could go and sit in
Wow.
towards the end, and that was pretty cool. So Cal obviously was not going to be doing that, but it'd be nice if Pope does that. Speaking of Cal, did you see his tweets? When was that? Yesterday?
Are you talking about the one about his kind of goodbye message? That was like about 4 or 5 days ago, I think. Is that what you're talking about?
No, yeah, yeah, he's like, wasn't Lex letting friends know of our appreciation? Talked with Joe and Kelly Craft about our friendship and relationship. They were a part of our journey. We are still friends. And then, wait, so that was at 6:51,
And his quote.
6:59. Let me assure you all that the fans nor the Crafts were part of our decision. Another voice was needed. I like and respect Coach Pope. He and his staff will have success. But my memories are of 15 great years. Thanks to all, Coach Cal. I'm like, like, and I was just talking to some other people, and I was like, "What are you doing? Like, you don't need to tweet about Kentucky. Like, respectfully, just kind of like you got your own team, figure out your own. It's kind of like a weird breakup that you can't get over, right? And like you want to like like text your ex or like that you broke up with or something. Like it's kind of it was just kind of funny. I saw that and was like, I I don't know if that was really necessary. I mean, it's a nice message, obviously, but I don't know if it was really necessary because it's not like that tweet is going to do anything. Like
Yeah.
the fans are either going to hate you, they hated you when you left, and they're still going to hate you, and they're going to hate you when Arkansas comes here to Rupp this season. But the tweet, like in talking about Joe and Kelly Craft, like there's a lot I could say on that, but I'll leave that for off the pod. But I
Yeah.
think it just wasn't really necessary, and it's just it was just kind of it was kind of funny. Did you laugh at all, or what did you think when you saw those?
Well, yeah. I was about 30 minutes late to the party. I had told you before we got on here, I've been doing CrossFit, so I'm trying to venture in that world. And anyways, not to go all down that road, but I got on my phone and it was like 30 minutes old. I'm like, what is this? I was a little like more of just it was weird timing. And I think part of it, maybe what sparked it, I got a couple points on it. So part of it's like, imagine being an Arkansas fan. He's trying to put together a roster right now, and like he's mentally thinking about his old place. Like I'd be like, bro, like come on, don't put the tweet out. But I think the things that surfaced around that tweet is I think he was, he said he was in Lexington, maybe gathering his stuff, and you're back in that world of Kentucky and Lexington where you're used to be king at one point, and I'm sure the feels hit him, and I felt like that was just a heartfelt, like the drunk text, you're drunk, like you that was sober him, like, leaving Lexington maybe for the last time and kind of in his feels. I don't think it helped anything, maybe he needed something to put that out there. But Michael, I can tell you, this entire process, I've watched I've watched all the Arkansas feed, all their content regarding Cal. I watched that stupid documentary they made. Watched all his interviews. I have a little like I'm paying attention because, but part of it, man, I've hung on to every word he said for years now. Like it's hard to kind of drop that. Not that I'm happy with how things are, but I'm still watching heavily on what's going on down there, just to make that clear. And man, there you can tell it's so obvious there's something like he's not what's the word, he's still upset about this. He's still, I think in a perfect world he would have wanted it to work here too. I will stand on that. You can tell his emotions and he's doing his cliche lines to get all the fans hype of why it's great to be at Arkansas, blah blah blah. But you can tell he's hitting all the lines of like, I love my time there, and I wish maybe I stayed too long and this and this. And that man, I would put my hand on the Bible right now. I bet that he would rather it worked out. I mean, of course, I think almost logic tells you that he would rather it worked here, won again, retired in Kentucky. I mean, this is his dream job. He said it for so long, and I think this was a pop up getaway great option. It came at the last minute, and I don't know, man. It's just a weird like a breakup's a good analogy, but like there's a lot of feelings there for Cal, and he's got to hide a lot of that stuff.
It's funny you say it and his feels. It's just funny to think about, but you're right. Like he was probably in his feels.
I mean, he's had a like think about. I don't know what to compare it to, but like you've hopped from jobs, in the TV world, and you've had to leave. Like your last time in, I think you said you were in Chattanooga, maybe
Johnson City, yeah.
Johnson City. Like your last time, oh, this is my last time in this apartment. You got to stand around like Will Smith and look around for a little bit. Like you ever have those moments, like he just left his big old mansion where in the town where he used to run, probably for the last time, and until Arkansas comes back. I'm sure that's got to be hard, man.
Yeah, he sold his house and that's probably what it was. I yeah, it was weird to see that picture of him wearing the red with at dinner with Chin Coleman
So weird.
uh yeah, it's I don't know. You make some good points there. The weirdest report, and not to make this a whole Cal pod, we'll move on from this, but it is kind of funny because there was that report that like he came back to Mitch and like wanted to stay, like wanted to like say screw it to all to leaving and wanted to stay, but like asked for more money or something. And I don't know if that report was true or not, but um, there are probably some inaccuracies in there. But if there is truth to the fact that he tried to say never mind, that's not a good look at all. If you kind of commit to this Arkansas job and then you're like, never mind, you're having second thoughts before it's even announced, and it's like, I don't know, man. And then the fans hear that. I mean, they don't care. They're just happy anyways, because they have John Calipari. So
Arkansas fans, this is going to sound more derogatory than it should, but sloppy seconds. Like Arkansas fans don't care. Like I'm sure they're like we're about to go on quite the ride. Like they think they're getting all these celebrities and Drake's coming there. Like they're ready for the ride that they would have never had a chance of. So they probably just don't care. They're ready for it all.
yeah, I mean, I wouldn't think Drake would come to, even though Drake loves Cal. I think part of Kentucky basketball is part of the aura with it. It's part of the swagger being here. Um, Lexington's, with all due respect, probably a cooler place than Fayetteville, Arkansas. I haven't been to Fayetteville, so I don't know, but I think Lexington's pretty cool. And,
Yeah.
the program obviously has so much history. So it's not just Cal, it's the program too. That's why Drake was coming here and all that. Um, I just as of now, if I don't know which team is going to be better next season. On paper, Cal's got the 5 stars, and Pope doesn't. Pope's got some portal pieces, some good ones, and Perry and Noah are both good recruits. Um, but Cal's got those 5 stars, so on paper it's better, but the 5 stars haven't translated to success the last few years. So it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. It will be fascinating to see which team is better,
Yeah.
and especially which team wins that game. In the Arkansas Kentucky game here in Lexington, I wish they could play twice. Hopefully, we get a second one in the SEC tournament.
Yeah.
But just one game, I would have been pissed if they didn't schedule Arkansas coming here. I mean, that would have been the biggest travesty of all. So I'm glad they did that. That was good news here on this Monday. And that'll be theater, man. Circle it on your calendar. That is going to be the game of the year, maybe in all of college basketball. Hopefully, the two teams are good, which will add more excitement. But that will be one of the most watched college basketball games, if not the most watched college basketball game all season. I mean, people are going to want to see that. They're going to want to see Cal get booed. They're going to want to hear it on the broadcast when they do the introductions and all that. And we got to be there for that game, man. That's going to be an awesome game, and that crowd is going to boo, and it's going to be awesome. But we'll get off the Cal stuff now. But it's kind of funny to just think about that time now, thinking back on it. What, a month or so later, month and a half later, but I think Cal knows that he's going to have a solid team. Um, but that tweet was funny. It was just kind of like, what are you doing? Like, you don't tweet about Kentucky. Like,
It didn't. I mean, it didn't hurt, but it didn't really do anything either.
yeah.
Um, Hard transition though. Let's talk about the NBA draft. So the NBA draft lottery just happened the other night. The we got Kentucky's got 2 players expected to go in the top 5, a lock to go in the top 10. As of right now, per ESPN, and I don't know where their mock drafts rank in terms of what I think they're pretty consistent. It's a big brand. So right now, going at the top 5 picks, Atlanta Hawks got number 1. The Washington Wizards got number 2. The Houston Rockets got number 3. San Antonio Spurs got 4. And the Detroit Pistons got number 5. So as of right now, ESPN is predicting Reed Shepherd to go 3rd to the Houston Rockets and Rob Dillingham to go 4th to the San Antonio Spurs. And I have one caveat for that. So if you sit here and break this down, the first 2 picks are projected to be international prospects that did not play in college basketball last year. Number 1 is the Sarr kid that was Olivier Sarr's brother. Man, why did he not make it to Kentucky? I don't know. But anyways, if Reed Shepherd goes 3rd and Dillingham goes 4th, that literally tells me that Kentucky had the best 2 players in college basketball last year draft wise. Now there's other players you could throw in the Purdue Edie and like or whatever, but like literally per the draft, Kentucky had the best 2 players on his team, 3rd and 4th, and like it just didn't translate. Back to kind of what we just mentioned. They on paper Arkansas's got the better thing, but like there was not a better team individual wise last year, and it didn't result in anything because so I could care less that they have that now. But anyways, I'm excited. I was writing an article the other night, and Reed Shepherd and Rob Dillingham, there's not one thing I could say bad about their time here. They were all just great individuals, mainly off the court, but then even on the court, they were awesome. And selfishly, when Reed Shepherd, oh my God, last summer there was articles that came out. He's like, I'll hold the water, I'll provide the water for the team if they need me to. And he's like, we thought he was going to be a 2 to 3 year player, and now he's going to be a 2 to 3 draft pick. Like, what happened? I mean, that's so awesome. A kid from North Laurel. Watched him since his junior year, and when they go across that stage and Reed Shepherd from London, Kentucky gets drafted, man, I might sit there and just a little tear comes down my eye and be like, yes. And Rob Dillingham, I'm gonna be so excited for him too.
Yeah. And then the other point with Cal was like the talking about Reed and saying he was going to be a 4-year player. And then like he just said that in an interview too. It's like, what? Too soon. Too soon. Don't talk about Kentucky. But yeah, I'm happy for both of them. I hope Antonio gets picked there in the second round.
Me
Guy's
too.
a baller, man, and he's a great dude. Justin Edwards probably early second round. I haven't seen him get creep up to the first round, so I don't know, but he's at the combine, right? So he maybe his athleticism, maybe his measurables will help him out there, but because he did have a good second half of the year. Um, but yeah, those two guys are awesome. I think Rob in a pick and roll with Victor Wembanyama would be insane. So, he would certainly be happy with that and play under the legendary Greg Popovich. I think that's a pretty good gig for Rob in that mock draft. And then Reed to the Rockets, that'd be solid. I know they got, a little crowded backcourt, so but maybe that would help Reed to not have pressure of having to contribute a lot right away. Because I don't see him like starting day one. I think Rob would start day one. He could, but I don't think Reed would start day one. So maybe that is a good situation for Houston to let Reed kind of sit behind Green and uh, whatever his face is, the other good guard they have. But um, I'm happy for them. I want to cover the draft next month out in Brooklyn. I think that'd be pretty fun to go cover.
Man, I wish there was a way. I'm looking at the top 10 picks. Like, I wish there was a way that Reed didn't go all the way out to Houston. Like, he's gonna still get support, but man, I selfishly wish he could have been closer. I would hate to have him go to the Pacers because like that team's ass. Well, I guess they're still in the playoffs. Maybe I shouldn't have said it, but like, and I wouldn't want him in Memphis either. But my best case scenario would be like Charlotte at six. I mean, if he fell from there to six, he loses out some money, but like I would be cool for it. Just because Charlotte's just a couple hours away, I'd try to get over there as much as I could. Um, so if you had to pick, if you're in that third and fourth, are you picking which one would you go with first? I mean, I guess it depends on what the team needs, but like off the top of your head, would you go with Rob? You think Rob should get picked first, or you think Reed should, or who do you think's going to long term have more success?
I would go with Rob.
Think so?
I think so. I mean, Indy's only 3 hours. That's the closest NBA team from us. So you should want Indy, but they're guard heavy too with Halliburton and Nemhard and Neat and what is it, Neesmith. So they got guys. So Reed wouldn't be playing immediately there either. So Charlotte would be interesting because they might trade LaMelo. So Reed would probably start day one there if he goes there. That if Charlotte, if Reed falls to six, I bet Charlotte would scoop him for sure. And then just because I think it seems like they're going to trade LaMelo. I mean they're kind of a disaster. So I don't know, but um, that's a disaster of an NBA franchise too. I wouldn't love Reed going there anyways, but
Yeah.
you just got to get your shot. But I think Rob is ready to be a pro right now. I don't know if his defense is there. We'll see, but he's ready to go out there and get buckets. But Reed got buckets too, man. But that Oakland game and that A&M game, man, he just that second half of the A&M game in Nashville and then that Oakland game, man, he just didn't. He looked scared, man. I don't know if he's going to be ready for the NBA stage, but I hope he is. I mean, they're saying he looks great at the combine. His vertical was like
Well,
what, 43 or something, 42. I mean, it was the highest when he got it, and it's now like tied for the highest still.
yeah.
So it's like, okay, let's go. That's hype. And messed up on one of the agility drills, but his um, 3/4 court time was good. So yeah, he can shoot the lights out of. I mean, he 52% is insane. So you'd think he could play right away just to shoot. I mean, just to knock down some buckets. And he's so talented, man. The way he can drive and he can be a nifty finisher. He's got great touch with his float game, but like, we saw him get some impressive finishes around the rim too. Put some English on that ball and draw some fouls. I don't know if he could do that against 7 foot NBA centers, but he was doing it in college. So hopefully he can continue it. Um, but I'll be rooting for him. But I think Rob's that guy. Rob, you can just drop him in, and he's going to be a microwave. He'll hit some crazy threes. He'll hit some crazy mid range. I mean, like he is. We saw it all year. Like that dude is for real.
Yeah.
He's a certified bucket getter, so I think that whoever drafts him is going to love him. But I don't see Houston picking him there because they already have that with those guards that they have. So um, it makes sense that Houston would pass on him. But so it's Atlanta's not going to pick him, and then who was number two? It was
Wizards.
the Wizards. Yeah, maybe the Wizards go up and get him, but that I guess they really like these international guys at the top too. So I think I would love Rob um, at San Antonio and work under Pop. That'd be pretty dang good.
Yeah. Michael, we do have to hit this break real fast. It's about to cut off on us. So let's end this right here for a second. We'll be right back. All right. Thank you for everybody who stayed on the other side of that break. Sometimes they sneak up on us. We were kind of in mid conversation, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, this Zoom is about to end in like 30 seconds." We were kind of getting got lost in the conversation, but we have survived that break. Michael, one thing we do need to touch on is the coaching staff. I mean, a lot's like I said, a lot's happened since me and you and Tim last sat on here and talked about who is Mark Pope. He didn't have a staff then. He didn't have any players then. So since the last time we've been on here, he's hired out his entire staff. He's got Alvin Brooks the third, Mark Fox, Cody. I'm gonna mess this up. I'm trying to see how UK says it. It says the way you pronounce
Baker.
Feger. There you go. Cody Feger and Jason Hart. So I'll tell you what I know about these coaches, and it's not a whole lot, but I know a little bit. Mark Fox, he's the guy that gave Mark Pope his first gig. I've read into that story so much when he was at Georgia, and I actually remember him being at Georgia. Mark Pope says he was called about that job. He's like, I want to get into coaching. He's like, I'm in school right now. This is not what I want to do. And he's like, all right, well, I got a job for you. It's the director of, and he's like, yes, yes. We cut him off before he could finish. And it turns out he's like director of like team gear or something. I don't know. He had to sit there and wash the clothes, and he wasn't even on the coaching staff. He was like the last guy getting all the stuff ready, and he didn't realize that's what it was until he arrived. So that's always a funny story of how Mark Pope got into it. And I think this is essentially just giving that favor back. Hey, come to Kentucky with me. You made all this possible in a way. I think Jason Hart was the guy with the G League team, the Ignite. So that brings a lot of youth and connections there in the NBA world. Cody how did you say his name again?
Beager.
That's
Yeah.
He's been a Mark Pope guy for a while at BYU. And then Alvin Brooks, the lead recruiter at Baylor. You know, we didn't get we didn't get their main coach there, but we did snag one of their coaches. And I think his dad used to be on staff here at UK for a while too. Back in the day, I think maybe in the Billy G era, Tubby era, back before Cal, of course. So that's about as far as my knowledge goes. Besides, they seem like great guys in their minimum interviews that they've had. What can you tell us about this coaching stuff?
Yeah, I think Jason Hart brings some, immediate credibility, playing in the league, what, 9 years. And, um, the G League, like that's the G League Ignite. I mean, he's sending guys to the league, to the draft. Scoot Henderson, obviously, Ron Holland, Jaden Hardy. Um, I think he'll bring immediate credibility and, um, to the players. And he's a good get for sure. And then Feger is obviously fun on Twitter with his boom, got him or whatever it is. But I like Jason Hart a lot. I think he'll be a good piece of the staff. And, you know, I think I think every hire was good. It seemed like all the national pundits were high on Pope building his staff, but um, we know at the end of the day it comes down to the players. So, we talked about the roster a little bit, and I'm excited to see how those pieces come together. But the staff was good, and they gotta hit the ground running, man. They gotta start recruiting for 2025. Get a good class in here.
Yeah, I think the one I'm most excited about is Alvin Brooks because he brought a lot of those guys to Baylor. He was their lead recruiter. And then, of course, Scott Drew had some effect on that, built that program from nothing. But I think we'll really see the dividends pay off next year with Alvin Baylor. He gets to finally recruit these players. That guy that was at Baylor, Edgecombe, I believe. I was really hoping he came with him, but it doesn't look like that's the case. But I think we'll really see what he brings to this team next year. The Cody Feger guy, I love his online presence, and I feel like talking to the wall, but we're gonna keep rolling. I hope Michael's okay. Um,
Sorry. I
no,
had to go check something out there real quick. But yeah, I like Brooks. I mean, they obviously brought in so much talent there too.
yeah.
Um, but I wonder, like, yeah, I thought they might have added a fifth, but it seems like they're good with their four. I mean, I think they're allowed to have a fifth now, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah, there's a lot of people on that bench last year. I don't know if I mean, I've not heard if they're going to or not, but I think there is a spot available if they do. I think, Tyler Eulis, I don't think they expected him to stay, but he was still a staff member kind of for a while there. Yeah. Um,
yeah, I obviously he was going to follow Cal too, but um, yeah, man, I'm excited to see. It's seems like they're not going to do a summer trip or anything like they have the last couple of years. You know, they did the Bahamas and then Toronto, so it doesn't seem like they're going to do that. Um,
yeah.
so we won't see anything out of these guys really till October, November.
Yeah, and then yeah, Mark Pope said that they weren't going to do that. I forget what his reasoning was, but I think it was more of to build team chemistry, get in the gym, get to know this team, kind of plant his roots here for the next few years at least. So I know they're not doing that. Yeah, man, I'm excited. You just know, especially with the whole program being new players, new coaches. Like I think they're going to try to make it. They're going to kind of reach the fans as much as possible this year, especially with NIL. You've almost got to do that. I bet we have a lot of different things pop up this summer with the players. Like they're doing this out in public and you can come see them here. And I feel like this summer is going to be more of like a summer tour of, I mean, I guess probably just Lexington and Central Kentucky. I don't think they're going around the state maybe, but it's going to be more of like get to know the team versus getting to see them on TV in some other country on some trip. So there's good and bad with everything. I guess we're not going to Drake's mansion this year, but it's fine. There's good and bad. It didn't help us in the season last year, so it was cool, but whatever. Um, but yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to get to know him. I mean, we've kind of exhausted all info that we've been provided so far about him, but we'll know a lot more come October and
Yeah,
September.
yeah, and it seems like these guys got talent. Um, like Chandler. I like for him to, you know, seem like he was a big time recruit, leaves for a couple years to go on that mission trip. Um, but he was obviously Pope got him in there. Um, I wonder him kind of. I mean, he didn't take. He kind of just took 2 years off. Kind of. I mean, he probably played some ball. I know he played some ball, but to not play legit organized team ball, um, that'll be interesting to see how he adjusts. But you got a couple solid point guard options with Kriza, and I think Perry's gonna end up being that too. He didn't have to really run the point a ton at Lyon County because he was just kind of doing everything. He was just kind of getting buckets, but I think he could develop into a point guard, kind of like how Reed did. And Pope's done a good job, man. He obviously has done a great job with he won the press conference. He's done super well getting his face out there, and the fans are starting to fall in love with him. He goes to Keeneland and brings Amari Williams there, and secures the bag. Elite recruiting pitch right there. Um, and then to get Noah to flip, those are two huge W's. I think Kobe Brea can be really good. So Brea,
Yeah,
I think. Um, and I guess Garrison was pretty good too. He was like wasn't he like a former 5-star? He was a McDonald's guy.
I
He was a
believe.
burger boy, wasn't he?
Yeah, I believe so. I don't know how much he played in it, but he was. Yeah.
And he was okay at Oklahoma State, but not great. So maybe he could be a dog. Um, I'm excited for Perry, man. Perry's about to be the star of the show, I think.
He's probably gonna. I think. Trent Noah will as well, but like people know Travis Perry a lot more. At least in my I know Travis Perry a lot more. I can't speak for everybody, but like I feel like starting off, Travis Perry is gonna fall in that Reed Shepherd of terms of making just killing it in IL. And I think Trent Noah will as well. I think he just needs to get more out there and be known a little bit more because if most people did what I did, who knows, I'm not in their head, but if they did what I did, I in a way kind of bless you. Bless you. In a way, I kind of like, not forgot about him, but just didn't pay attention to everything he did because he was going to South Carolina. So he needs to kind of have a good summer of getting himself out there and with social media, whatever. But Michael, we're kind of evaluating what Mark Pope has done here. The last time we recorded this podcast, I mean, think of all that he's done since then. I mean, he's been going on a media tour. He all the national media, and it's all been good and hyping everybody up. And then he's put out his whole staff and 10 players, scholarship players on this team. Locked in Travis Perry and brought Trent Noah here. Like in terms of 3 to 4 weeks, like I could not. I think this is the best case scenario. I mean, 3 or 4 weeks ago he had nothing. It was just Mark Pope and nobody. Like, oh, I mean, I guess Travis Perry, but like I'm impressed. Like I'm over impressed with it. Like I love what he's done so far.
Yeah, I mean, getting Perry to stay, I think, is his crowning achievement so far. Like to, and I think that's why the fans love him because he stayed. Those other, 5 stars and the rest of the recruiting class, they followed Cal or whatever. Perry stayed. He's a Kentucky guy. He wanted to come play here. I think that's going to really resonate with the fan base. He's going to be the fan favorite like Reed was last year.
I,
Um,
I think that's the difference there. I think that's the difference. Over the last few years, we've seen a lot of players. Fans can believe what they want, but a lot of them came for Cal. I've used this thing for a while. 80% Cal, 20% the Kentucky brand. It wasn't all Cal, but Travis Perry was one of those players. Just like we flirted with as Reed coming back this year. Like they came for Kentucky first. They did. Travis Perry, like this is a dream. Whoever the coach was, so I think that helped a little bit too. He came to play for Kentucky and then the coach when the rest of that roster last year played for Cal and then Kentucky.
yeah, I'll still hold on to like a little sliver, like a little, right? Like this big, little sliver. That if Cal stayed and the team stayed, the recruits were coming in, that team was going to be insane. I think there's a little chance that maybe Reed still would have came back and just like been like screw it, like Cal, like let's give it another shot. Like this team's about to be cracked next year. I think that Cal might have had a tiny, tiny chance, but when you see Cal leave and there's nobody on the roster, then Reed had to go. But
Yeah.
and he had to go anyways. He probably was going to go anyways. But there's a little 1% chance, but point one maybe that Cal could have got him to come back. But because if you think about like and then like DJ and Reed is your starting backcourt next year with a mixture of the freshmen and then like Ugana starting at the 5 next year. That could have been a really, really good team. But it is what it is. It's gone. I think Arkansas will have a good team. I think Boogie's going to be a dog.
Yeah.
Boogie's going to be a dog, and then Billy Richmond he followed him to Arkansas, right? So Billy did. Samto did he too?
Yeah. I'm almost positive. But
And
man,
then
become so stale to that stuff. Like, we're gonna be good next year, and he's got all the recruits. Like, it's the same song and dance. I mean, I'm just not falling for it. I don't know if it was our team. Yeah, I can't even say that. I would have been excited. It's better than a trash roster, but like, I found myself for the last few years, man, like that recruiting class and who's coming back. Like, I'm just like, it is what it is. I've never
yeah,
really went
because
with it.
last year was the peak.
Yeah,
It couldn't have got better than last year. You had an
no,
amazing recruiting class with guys coming back, and that was the peak. That should have been the one. That I think that's why Cal left. He knew like it it was going to be hard to get better than that. I mean, that team was really good, and they just laid an egg, man. It just happens. Like if Reed shows up, man, and just hits one of those buckets, then they win the game. But who knows? They might not have even beat NC State.
Yeah.
They went to the Final Four.
I
They
was
might have lost in round two,
yeah.
or maybe they would have knocked off NC State. Maybe would have went to the Final Four. We'll never know. But I think, um, yeah, it's crazy to play the what ifs. But I don't love this new team, but I like it, and I think there's some talent, bunch of bunch of pieces. We'll see if they can become a puzzle, complete puzzle.
And this team that we're going to get this year at Kentucky is going to look different than next year's. I mean, not drastically different, but like, he didn't get to this recruit class a whole lot. Like next year, he might have a top 15, top 20 player, one or two of them maybe. Like it's going to be a little different next summer after we get this first full year where he can get on the recruiting trail. So like I would tell probably fans not to fully expect like this is what we're getting every year. I think we're going to get probably 75%, 80% of what this looks like now. A lot of older players, a lot of transfers, but like if we'll see how he does in the recruitment trail. He did just fine at BYU with all the self-limiting things there, but like with the Kentucky brand, if Kentucky does something impressive this season, I think he could land a top 15, 20 guy in the right scenario, maybe a two in the top 50, and then you get all these transfers and these veterans, and so I think next year will be just a little different. But hey, I'm definitely not the ones calling for let's go get five in the top 20. I mean, I don't know. And this is like I've said this the whole way through. It's rich people problems. Like we've as Kentucky fans, as Kentucky fans over the years, we've got so like the fact that I can sit here and not get hyped about a number one recruiting class is just mind blowing. But with Cal and Kentucky, you've had it for so long and done nothing with it. So again, I'm excited, and we'll see how this route goes. I mean, you're seeing UConn. I mean, after Dan Hurley walked off that court, he sat there and gave the blueprint of exactly what he did. I put the tweet out of the clip of what he said, and Mark Pope and a lot of these other Alabama, a lot of them are venturing towards that way. Mark Pope is farther in that direction than Cal will ever be. So if the guy who's won back-to-back titles is saying do this, our coach now is doing somewhat that direction, actually a lot of bit that direction. I'm cool with it, man. It's different, but all the good things come to an end. And if it's not, they say don't fix what's not broke. Well, it was broke in my opinion. So let's fix it and see how this route looks.
Yeah, I think the deadline for the early entry draft is April 22nd or 27th, maybe. So that Jackson Robinson kid,
You said
we'll see if he.
May, May is it at the end of May?
Well, the deadline to just put your name in.
Oh,
He already I guess he put his name in, but he's keeping his eligibility. Yeah, and then the for sure final deadline, yeah, is in May. But so yeah, I wonder if Pope could get him to come back. I guess it depends on how well he does at the combine, but
yeah.
that'd be a huge get. That would be a huge get.
He was a sixth man of the year in their conference last year, I believe, something of that sort. So hopefully, like it has an Antonio Reeves jump. I mean, that jump was huge. So yeah, I'm excited, man. It was good to get on here and catch back up with you, man. I keep, we text and see you on social media and stuff. You've been traveling all over the place, and I went to New York for a little while there. That was fun. Went to West Virginia, and then, so yeah, hopefully we can get back in the groove of this. And it is good. It's a lot of it's been me too. Is the summertime. It's so nuts throughout the season. We're like try to kind of lay it back a little bit in the off season, and live life for a little bit. But hopefully next time we'll get Tim on here. He's busy right now. And I'm happy to chop back up here as soon as we can.
But yeah, man, I know we're obviously still, as you said, looking at the NBA Cats. They're all Cal's guys, so it kind of loses its luster a little bit, but still rooting on Murray and
PJ
Cat in that
Washington.
series. That's a fascinating series.
Yeah, have you kept up with PJ Washington? He's going off.
He's huge for Dallas.
He's becoming that third guy over there with Kyrie and Luca. Uh,
Yeah,
playing right now. I'm a Thunder fan. And I've been a Thunder fan since the Durant and Westbrook days. But when Durant left and all the other fans hopped off, I stayed with just the Russell Westbrook and Thunder. And I gotta say, I'm a distant fan. I don't watch a whole lot of the games. I keep up with more on social media just because it's hard to get a lot of those games. But I've stuck with the Thunder since Durant was there. He left. I didn't follow him to Golden State. I stayed with Westbrook. And then when he left, it got ugly for a little while. And then I remember I want to say we were sitting at home during COVID. It was late at night, like the beginning of COVID, and that crazy trade from Shea got sent to OKC for Paul George and like 15 draft picks. Like I just remember, like, okay, I mean, I don't know if Shea's gonna work here, but like Shea's the guy. That's what they're banking on right now with all these draft picks. And man, he's blossomed to second place in the MVP voting. Like a Kentucky guy, like is on my team as a second. Like I'm high on the Thunder right now. I'm so excited. And I hope they pull through in this playoffs, man. It's so exciting.
Yeah, yeah, the Clippers, they had to do that trade to get Paul George because they had to do it to get Kawhi to come. That was the summer before 2019.
Was it that long?
Um,
Wow.
yeah, they did it in response to the Anthony Davis trade, really.
Yeah.
After AD went, the Lakers got AD, and then Clippers had to do something, so they got Kawhi, but had to do the trade for PG, and they haven't won a thing. They Kawhi can't stay healthy, so you'd think that they should have just. I bet they wish they just stuck with Shea at this point, but they had to do it to get Kawhi and PG, two superstars. But yeah, man, Shea's a baller. He's awesome.
Thunder's got the
Really, nobody. Huh?
Thunder's got the 12th pick in this draft too. I mean, those draft picks were going for 6, 7 years out, multiple. Like they got the 12th pick this year. Who goes at 12th? Thunder gets them. I don't know, man.
Yeah, they're gonna be scary. There's really nobody really in the East. Um, Nobody on Boston or Cleveland, and nobody on Indy besides what Isaiah Jackson barely plays,
D-Boy's
and
in.
then New York, Randall's hurt, so we really have no cats in the East.
Yeah.
Um, Philly had that early exit with Maxey, so it's really just the guys in the West.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know who's going to win this series. As soon as we hop off here, I'm gonna watch it. But I'm rooting for the Thunder. But the Mavs look good, man. I love seeing everything with PJ Washington. Like I watched that kid in high school. They came here to the Marshall County Hoop Fest. I drove. Man, I was like 18. None of my friends cared about. I was just trying to venture into the media world of like, what? There's Kentucky recruits playing in our state. Like I had, no idea what it was going to become. And I drove like 3.5 hours one way. And at 17, 18, that's a lot. Like I can do it now, but like that was a big deal. And I did it by myself. Watched PJ Washington and Keldon Johnson play in Marshall County and then drove back. Like that was I just a vivid memory. And now PJ Washington, Keldon Johnson, they're in the NBA killing it. Like it was cool just to see them in high school. So pretty cool.
All right, brother.
All right, man. Well, appreciate you, and we'll let you go. And next time we'll have Tim on here, and we'll chop it up and see what other news just came out.
All right, man. Good stuff.
See you, Michael.